Fujifilm. Everyone loves them. But why? We're at X Summit in Tokyo to figure it all out. But let's start at the very, very beginning. Here it is. Fujifilm's first camera ever made. This is actually the Super Fujica 6. So the Fujica 6 was the original. And this one has some updates. And it's a camera that folds out. So the lens, it doesn't exist right now. And then all of a sudden, whoop-ha, you get a lens. Hope this thing works. I have no idea. What should we load into it? When was color film invented, you know? And don't look at what film I'm loading. There we go. Fujifilm is known for a few things. Number one, their colors. Number two, their camera aesthetics and unique retro designs and physical dials and functionality. Number three, the value you get for money. And number four, the compact and lightweight nature of most of their kits. This wasn't always the case though. In fact, they didn't even make cameras and lenses in the beginning. Fujifilm started, as you guessed it, as a film company. That was in the 1930s, but the 1940s, Fuji enters the optics space making lenses and equipment. Then in 1948, their first camera, this is the Fujica 6. Well, this one here is the Super Fujica 6, which I assume allows me to do more super photos. This is also a medium format camera, which is interesting that Fuji started in the medium format market, a market they're still one of the leaders in to this day, even after the switch to digital. Mr. John Branch, why do you love Fujifilm?
I would say the size, the ease of use, and also the film sense. Hands down the best.
There you have it. Live from Tokyo. Well, recorded and posted to YouTube. Lee Zavitz on a bus in Japan. Why do you love Fujifilm?
I'm here in Japan, and I am on a bus, and I love Fujifilm because they offer something other cameras don't have, which is that nice tactile button knob switch feel. Right?
You heard it here first. Lee Zavitz on a bus in Tokyo.
I love this bus.
This is the GA645. It is a medium format film point and shoot. It's a pretty unique product. There's a few different versions of it. There are some with wider lenses. This one here has more of a general lens. It's I think a 38mm equivalent in full frame terms. And you pretty much use it as a point and shoot. Another cool feature is it has a pop-up flash. What kind of medium format point and shoot has a pop-up flash? Let's use a flash. Oh, there's John Branch. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Right? That's nice. Editing note, whoops. 1960 through 1990, a lot happened. Fujifilm improved their films, and while Kodak dominated the market in the USA, Fujifilm pretty much had the entire Japanese market. In the 1970s, they launched some more sophisticated cameras. And then in the 80s, Fuji got into videotape and actually began their journey into digital. This included CCD sensors and digital storage solutions. Then in 1984, the Los Angeles Olympics, Fujifilm became the title sponsor after Kodak passed on it. Fuji established a factory in the USA and started offering less expensive film. They gained considerable market share in the USA, while Kodak struggled to get any sort of market in Japan with the general public. We're here at Fujifilm X Summit 2024, and there's a special announcement about to happen that I don't know if I can talk about yet, but you've probably already seen it. You know, this we had to edit this video later. It's not a live video. Canada got the front row. It's kind of almost like UN style here, where we have our receivers with an earpiece. We've got some channels that we can get some translations, and every Fujifilm team has 2 rows, which is kind of cool.
I'm Billy. I'm with Fujifilm.
And what are we doing here in Tokyo?
We are actually at the launch of the X Summit Tokyo, which of course we're going to be announcing a brand new camera model.
And it's one that I think a lot of people are going to be very, very excited about.
I'm very excited about it myself, so yeah.
I feel like everyone that I know, regardless of what brand they shoot, they all have an X100 series product.
Right.
And do you guys see that too?
Yeah, I think the X100 series is kind of like a gateway drug into the brand, right? Like, it really transcends all brands. So it doesn't matter what you use professionally, this camera just kind of has that appeal for photographers that, care about image quality, but also, want a camera that is aesthetically beautiful.
Yeah. Why do you love Fujifilm?
Well, Fujifilm as a company is a little bit different. I've been working for that for over like 21 years. And to be honest with you, I get to see the people, management, the president of the company walking around, and we can just have a nice conversation. And I think that's what's different about us versus other brands. Also, the interest in photography is very strong. It's not we're just here to work a job. We love photography and even now video as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to really pick one camera because I get to work with so many. Like every time a new camera comes out, it automatically becomes my favorite. But I've always kind of, went down to a camera that's lightweight and portable. So whether it be an X100 series of camera or a camera like the XE4 at this time, it's kind of the type of camera that appeals to me personally.
Why should somebody be interested if they're choosing a pathway right now? They know they're into photography. They want to make that their hobby. They want to go professional at some point, perhaps, and they're at a loss. Why should someone go with Fujifilm?
I think our cameras really bring out like the need to actually go and take photos. Like if you're stuck in a rut, right, and you pick up a Fujifilm cameras, or you see one on the desk, you're kind of like, what, I want to go out and shoot, and it's just whether it be the look, the design, the dials that you see on these cameras, or even just our unique film simulation. I think that's kind of what the appeal is to, our brand. Yeah. Well, we started the company in 1934. This is about 90 years ago. In fact, this is our 90th anniversary this year. And so, of course, we produce film, right? And so we have this huge heritage of what we think people like when they take photos, and that kind of transcends from an analog era now to a digital era. And so, I think that's kind of what makes us unique, is that we can embed this history into more modern devices like our X100 series of cameras. We have 20 new film simulations. Reality Ace is our newest, and honestly, like every single one is fun, but what makes it also unique is that you can customize it to your liking. Like you can add grain. You can add these unique, color chrome effects, or even adjust tone curves or highlights to kind of give that unique look to yourself. And a lot of people, this whole idea of making recipes is a big thing with our brand.
Do you have any secret recipes?
I think we all have a secret that we want to keep out. My favorite is to start with a certain base film simulation. I like Astia, and then work my way and make the changes. Not all profiles work for every lighting situation, so you got to be able to reflect the type of mood or the lighting that's there to kind of get the most out of certain film simulations.
In the early 90s, Fujifilm saw the photo and videos industry shift to digital coming, and they started more development. Not before doing something very interesting, though. In 1998, the Fujifilm Instax. Fuji diversified their product offerings with one of the most popular products they have ever made. Great for business with recurring sales of film packs, and the market is everyone from my grandmother to my 10-year-old cousin. And before the entire industry shift to digital, there is one more camera that Fuji made that I absolutely love. The Fujifilm Class S. Or is it Classy S? I don't know. Let's take some pictures. Here we have the Fujifilm Classy S, and mine is a little bit broken. This is one of the last point and shoots ever created. And the lens in here is incredible. It is a 38mm f2.8, and the camera overall is pretty simple. You do have the ability to select your aperture if you want. And I've been doing a few photos around town with Gold 200, but we've now switched to Japan Camera Hunter's 400 Street Pan because it is a cloudy day. And I feel like when you don't have light, black and white just tends to look a heck of a lot better. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about the history of Fujifilm?
It's a long history. It's a long history. Yeah, I mean, the history of Fujifilm, it goes back a very long time, and they initially became famous for medium format cameras. And they released what they called the professional line, which they repeated on the film as well. It was called the professional line, for some of it, Fujichrome Professional. But they also produced lenses for large format cameras, medium format cameras. They weren't particularly famous for 35mm cameras, though they did make them. but it was the large format cameras that, medium format cameras that Fujifilm, the Texas Leica, the GF670, you know, folding cameras, which are still extremely popular now, but they really made their name with the film. And obviously, it's in the name. They produced a staggering range of film in comparison to a lot of other manufacturers, you know, especially famous for their slide film, reversal film, which had a tone and a contrast like nobody else, no other maker could come close. For me, Fujifilm has a really special place in my heart for that.
And this is a list of demands for them.
Yes, this is a list of demands. This is the bullet point list. Please, Fuji, bring back Natura, Provia 400X, Super Presto, and Velvia. That would be very nice of you. Thank you very much. And in fact, if you could be so kind as to take a page out of Pentax's book, maybe, and use some of your expertise to produce a camera that the market is clearly begging for, a film camera, that would be smashing.
It's interesting that that you mentioned that they started in medium format and they weren't really known for 35, and still even digital to this day, they don't do a full frame camera. They do a medium format digital and APS-C crop.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they stay kind of true to the history of those roots.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. They didn't produce a great deal of 35 cameras. It was mainly medium format, and they're especially now known for their large TV cameras. You know, not just professional. I mean, full-on TV studio, sports stadium, 1500 millimeter zoom, $1 million lenses. You know, they're and medical as well, because they do medical lenses, optical stuff for medical applications too. So they're very good at what they do. They're very good at that, and they've been able to obviously pack a lot into quite a small little thing there. You know, favourite Fujifilm film is easy. It's Super Presto Neopan 1600. I dearly miss this stuff. As you see, I have a handful of rolls which are in my freezer. These expired in 2012, but I'm still going to shoot them. I just love the depth of the inky blacks, the contrast on this, and the grain. It's fantastic. As for a favourite camera, that's a bit more difficult because they made some genuinely great cameras. As I mentioned before, the Texas Leica, so the GW 680, 690, 670, very big, solid cameras, fantastic lenses, EBC glass, and that's a legacy you see in these modern cameras as well. The Fujinon Super EBC, which was what we saw with the medium format and their other professional line cameras.
So if you scroll,
so
it'll tell you up top.
A Turner.
Yeah.
That's a cinema film. Bleach bypass. Wow. Acros, so they do have Acros. Acros yellow filter, red filter, green filter, mono, sepia.
I know, right?
Provia standard, Velvia vivid. Astia, they've got Astia? Okay, fair enough. I stand corrected. That's pretty interesting. I'm not going to fiddle around too much with it, because I don't know what I'm doing. I look like a grandpa.
Now we move more into digital. Fuji was early with a lot of great products. There were actually some pretty unique offerings too, like Fujifilm DSLRs that fit Nikon f-mount lenses. Then in 2011, something wonderful happened. Fujifilm releases the X100, a fixed lens retro-styled camera with modern digital capabilities. It was a standalone camera in a field of DSLRs. A lot of photographers, regardless of what brand they were shooting, had one of these cameras in their bag. This is still true to this day with the newer versions of the X100 series. Then around 2012, Fujifilm became what we know them for today, with the release of the X Pro 1, and then in 2014, the X-T1. Today, we're shooting the X-T5. Whoa, this is a weird place. Why is there so much smoke? One thing we were very surprised about during our time in Tokyo was how many Fujifilm cameras we saw out in the wild. It was actually pretty rare to see any other camera brand as a physical camera. We saw obviously lots of iPhones and Androids, but when it came to actual cameras for photography, it was a lot of Fujifilm. And if I had to take a guess why, I'm going to guess it came down to a few factors. One, it just looks nice. It's aesthetically, it's pleasing to look at. It's also a little bit more anchored to film, and I feel like there's more truth and authenticity in film. And third, I think it's the form factor, that it is just a nice kit to be able to carry around all day. And the JPEGs that come off Fujifilm cameras are just, they're ready to go. They're ready to post to social media or to print, whatever you want to do with them. Fujifilm has come a long way since their original films and the original Fujica 6, a medium format folding camera from back in 1948, to the all-new cameras they're manufacturing today and paving their own path in the photography industry. Fujifilm really is keeping the love of photography alive, and I've had an absolute joy shooting with all of these cameras, including the new Fujifilm X106 here in Japan during this adventure. Thanks for watching. I'm Taylor Jackson, and I'll see you again next time.
Hello there.
You're ruining this for me.